Today's lesson will be healing of God, physical, mental, and spiritually, mentally, and physically, or physically, mentally, and spiritually. I'm getting a little tongue-tied myself today. Okay, but that's the title of the lesson, healing of God, physically, mentally, and spiritually, because God is still in the healing business. No matter what your illness is, God can heal it. And that's if it's His will, then He will heal you. And you know, they had physicians in Israel and also in Egypt. And so that's where we're going to start at. We're going to start in Genesis, the 50th chapter, just to show you that they did have physicians. But the physicians are not able to heal all sicknesses. God is able to heal all sicknesses. You know, He'll bring you back from the grave. Let's go here. We're going to look at a couple of physicians right here. So let's go to Genesis, the 50th chapter, Genesis 50, and we're going to pick it up in verse 1. Genesis 50 and 1. Go ahead and read.
Genesis 50, verse 1.
Uh-huh.
And Joseph fell upon his father's face, and went upon him and kissed him.
Now this is when Jacob died, and they were in Egypt, and so Joseph had brought the children of Israel back to Egypt with him, including his father. So his father Jacob died, and so now this is at his funerals. So Joseph wept upon him and kissed him. Go ahead.
Verse 2.
Uh-huh.
And Joseph commanded his servants, the physicians, to embalm his father.
Now look, he said he commanded his servants, the physicians, his servants. Now these are Egyptians that are being called his servants. And they were physicians, and they did embalm his father. Go ahead.
And the physicians embalmed Israel.
Because that was Jacob's name. His name was changed from Jacob to Israel. So, and they embalmed Israel. Verse 3, go ahead.
Verse 3.
Uh-huh.
And 40 days were fulfilled for him. For so are fulfilled the days of those which are embalmed.
Uh-huh.
And the Egyptians mourned for him 70 days.
Now, so the Egyptians had physicians. Let's go look at this again. Some physicians again. First, before we go look at physicians, we're going to go to Zondervan's Bible Dictionary, and we're looking up occupations. And we're going to read about physicians.
Physicians. In the days of Moses, there were midwives and regular physicians who attended the Israelites. Exodus 21:19. They brought some knowledge of medicine with them from Egypt, whose physicians were celebrated in all antiquity. In the early stages of medical practice, attention was more frequently confined to surgical aid and external applications.
So they had medicines, they had surgeons, they had all this in Egypt. And then the children of Israel, they adopted some of these practices. Go ahead.
Even down to a comparatively late period, outward melodies appear to have been the chief subjects of medical treatment among the Hebrews. Although they were not entirely without tall disorders. The medicines prescribed were salves, particular balms, plaster, and poultices, oil baths, mineral baths, etc. in Egypt.
Now, so the Egyptians had physicians, surgeons, they practiced medicine, and so Israel adopted some of these practices from the Egyptians. Now let's go to 2 Chronicles. 2 Chronicles, the 16th chapter. 2 Chronicles, the 16th chapter. And we're going to pick it up at verse 1. 2 Chronicles 16 and 1. When you get it, brother, start reading.
2 Chronicles 16, verse 1. In the 6th and 13th year of the reign of Asa, Baasha, king of Israel, came up against Judah and built Ramah to the intent that he might let none go out or come in to Asa, king of Judah.
So now these are children of Israel coming up against Judah. And at this time, Asa was the king of Judah. Verse 2, go ahead and read.
Then Asa brought out silver and gold out of the treasures of the house of the Lord and of the king's house, and sent to Benhadad, king of Syria, that dwelt at Damascus, saying, There is a league between me and thee, as there was between my father and thy father. Behold, I have set thee silver and gold. Go, break thy league with Baasha, king of Israel, that he may depart from me.
So, you know, the king of Syria, Baasha, he was in a league with the Israelites. And so Judah, this at the time when Judah and Israel was split. So now he's telling Baasha, the king of Syria, look, go break your league with the children of Israel and come and join forces with us and fight against them. Fight against Israel. Go ahead and read, because Israel came out against Judah. These are all brothers now, except king of Syria. So Asa like, look, there's a league between your father and my father. But they also had a league with the other 10 tribes. So he's telling them to break your league with them and come wholly with me. Go ahead and read.
Verse 4. And Benhadad hearkened unto King Asa, and sent the captains of his armies against the cities of Israel. And they smote Ijon, and Dan, and Abel Maim, and all the store cities of Naphtali.
So now Ben-Hadad went against the children of Israel, right? For Asa, the king of Judah. Skip to verse 7. Go ahead.
Verse 7. And at that time, Hanani, the seer.
Now this was the prophet at this time, Hananiah.
The seer came to Asa, king of Judah, and said unto him, Because thou hast relied on the king of Syria, and not relied on the Lord thy God.
Stop right there. You see who he went to, the king of Judah? He said, look, the Lord has said this. Since you rely on the king of Syria and not the Lord thy God, go ahead and read.
Therefore is the host of the king of Syria escaped out of thine hand.
Go ahead.
Were not the Ethiopians and the Lubims a huge host, with very many chariots and horsemen? Yet, because thou didst rely on the Lord.
Yet, because you did rely on the Lord, he said the Ethiopians and the Lubians, they had a huge host and many chariots. And you relied on the Lord at this time when they came up against you. Go ahead and read.
He delivered them into thine hand.
He delivered them into thy hand. In other words, these Ethiopians and Lubians, they came up against you, and the Lord delivered them into your hand because you believed in the Lord. Verse 9, go ahead.
Verse 9. For the eyes of the Lord run to and fro throughout the whole earth.
He know what's going on in the earth. The eyes of the Lord, he's got those 7 spirits that's going to and fro through the earth. The Lord himself is not going to and fro through the earth. But he had those 7 spirits which go to and fro in all the earth. And he sees what's going on. So he knows what you're doing, Asa. He knows that you called the king of Assyria to fight your battles with Israel instead of him. Go ahead and read. Start at verse 9 again.
Verse 9. For the eyes of the Lord run to and fro throughout the whole earth, to show himself strong in the behalf of them whose heart is perfect toward him.
See, the Lord's heart, the ones that's heart is perfect towards the Lord show his strength for that people. or for that person. Go ahead and finish that.
Herein thou hast done foolishly.
Uh-huh.
Therefore, from henceforth thou shalt have wars.
From henceforth thou shalt have wars. Now let's see what happened when he got sick. Skip down to verse 12. Skip to verse 12. Go ahead and read it.
Verse 12.
Uh-huh.
And Asa, in the 30th and 9th year of his reign, was diseased in his feet.
Look at that. You know how you get that gout? So he was diseased in his feet. Black people still get that gout. Israel, we still get that gout, right? So he was diseased in his feet. Uh-huh.
Until his disease was exceedingly great.
See, if he had called upon the Lord, then the Lord probably would have healed him of this disease in his feet. Now, they have medicines and everything, because I don't want nobody to get it mistaken. You call upon the Lord, and the Lord have sent the doctors to give you some medicine. And so if the doctor tells you to take some medicine, then you take it. Depending on, if you know about that, if you got a good idea what's going on with that medicine, if medicine going to do you more harm than good, then you don't take that medicine. Like now, I take medicine, take some metformin, and now my blood sugar level is still a little high, but it's being regulated. I take a little medicine for my high blood pressure. And my blood pressure now is straight. Of course, I lost a little weight too. Doctor was telling me, hey, you need to stay at the weight you are. And I'm looking at myself like, no, I can't stay this light down. She's like, oh, no, you stay that weight you are. I'm like, no. But I lost something like 17 pounds. And then my blood pressure went down. Some of my worries were gone. You know? And so the medicine was working, has been working for me. So I'm going to continue to take that medicine until it don't work. If I can find something natural to take, then I'm going to take that. But I'm surely calling upon the Lord.
Amen.
Go ahead and read. What verse you at?
Verse 12.
Uh-huh.
Start it over.
Start it over.
And Asa, in the 39th year of his reign, was diseased in his feet.
Uh-huh.
Until his disease was exceeding great. Yet in his disease he sought not to the Lord, but to the physicians.
See, he went to the physicians. You know, he didn't seek the Lord. The Lord had come and killed his, delivered his enemies into his hands, the Ethiopians and the Libyans. He delivered them. So now that would have been a small thing for him to call upon the Lord instead of calling upon some physicians. Because the Lord was with Asa. Asa was a good king. Until this. And what happened to him? Verse 13.
And Asa slept with his father.
See, the Lord didn't kill him. He just got straight to it. Scripture just got straight to it. He said, look, and Asa slept with his fathers,
and died in the 114th year of his reign.
See, so had he called upon the Lord probably would have saved him. But he trusted in the physicians. Then first he trusted in the king of Syria. Then he turned around and trusted in physicians. And he died. So you can't always trust in the physicians, but you most assuredly can always count on the Lord. You can always count on the Lord. And if it be his will, then you will be healed. If it's not his will, then you will not be healed. Just let me get that straight. Let's go to Psalm 103. Psalm 103, because the Lord, he can heal all sicknesses. You know, if he can bring people back from the grave, him healing the sick, that's a small thing. That is a small thing. Psalm 103, and we're going to pick it up in verse 1. Psalm 103 and verse 1. When you get it, brother, go ahead and read it.
Psalms 103, verse 1. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me. Bless his holy name. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget not all his benefits.
See, don't forget his benefits. If you're a servant of God, the Lord has some benefits. You know your job got benefits for you, right? God's got benefits for you too. And his benefits are way better than your job. Go ahead and read.
Verse 3. who forgiveth all thine iniquities, who healeth all thy diseases, who redeemeth thy life from destruction, who crowneth thee with long loving kindness and tender mercies.
You see what he said? He said, who forgiveth all thine iniquities, who healeth all thy diseases. All means anything any disease that comes upon a man, God can heal. That is really something. Any disease, because one day you're going to get sick. Whether it's a cold or whatever you get, you're going to get sick one day. And that goes for all of us. I have never met a person that hasn't, now there might be somebody out there, but I have never met a person, especially an Israelite, that haven't been sick. But the Lord forgiveth all thine iniquities, who healeth all thy diseases. So anything known to man, God can heal it. Verse 4, go ahead.
Verse 4. Who redeemeth thy life from destruction. Who crowneth thee with loving kindness and tender mercies.
See, he can deliver your life from destruction. And he tells you, too, what he wants you to do and to deliver your life from destruction. He gives you his word. And if you follow his word, he is delivering your life from destruction. Because if you out stealing and killing and doing all those type of things, the destruction is coming for you. Go ahead and read.
Verse 5. Who satisfieth thy mouth with good things, so that thy youth is renewed like the eagle.
Let's go now. Let's go to Matthew the 4th chapter, because the Lord Jesus, he will heal thee of all thy sicknesses. And this is the same one that's in the Old Testament right there we just read about, because the Father didn't deal with man. We are dealing with the Lord right here. We had Matthew the 4th chapter, and we're going to pick it up at verse 23. Matthew 4 and 23. Everybody got it?
Amen.
Go ahead and read it.
Matthew 4, verse 23. And Jesus went about all Galilee, teaching in their synagogues and preaching the gospel of the kingdom and healing all manner of sickness.
You see what he just read? He said Jesus was healing all manner of sicknesses. Go ahead and read.
And all manner of disease.
And all manner of disease. Isn't that the same thing we just read about in Psalms? And we're reading about the same one. And now he's showing you that he's doing it. And Jesus went about Galilee, teaching in their synagogues and preaching the gospel of the kingdom and healing all manner of sickness and all manner of disease among the people. Go ahead and read.
Verse 24. And his fame went throughout all Syria. And they brought unto him all sick people that were taken with divers diseases.
You see, Jesus know how to get people's attention. You know, you start healing people, here come everybody. Hey man, get out the way, I'm next. They be fighting to get to him. And so you got thousands of people from miles around coming to see Jesus now and to be healed. Because he knows how to get people's attention. You let them come right now. Everybody be flocking to, especially black people. You know we're going to be flocking to him. That's our Lord and Savior too. You know we're going to be flocking to him. Everybody get out the way. You ain't got nothing, you ain't got no matter in this. We first. We are Israel, we first. Go ahead and read. Then the people going to be saying that scripture, the Jew first. Then the Gentile. You know what the scripture say, man? The Jew first. Go ahead and read. What verse you at?
Verse 24.
Start it over. Go ahead.
And his fame went throughout all Syria, and they brought unto him all sick people that were taken with divers diseases and torments.
Now look, because he heals all manner of diseases, right? So now they bringing everybody to him. Don't care what type of sickness they got. Look what else he did. Go ahead and read.
And those which were possessed with devils.
Oh, wait a minute. They possessed with devils? They got something mental going on up here. In the Bible, they call it possessed with devils. You might want to think about that when you see somebody walking around the streets and their mind is not there. They call it, men call it a chemical imbalance now, but the Lord say what? Possessed with a devil. You might want to think about it. I'm not saying everybody possessed with no devil now. I'm just saying you might want to think about that. They could be possessed with a devil. Go ahead and read.
And those which were lunatic.
They lunatic, you know something wrong with them now. Right? Go ahead.
And those that had the palsy.
And this is some type of debilitating disease right here that causes people like to be crippled. Go ahead and read.
And he healed them.
And he healed them, so he was healing all manner of diseases and sicknesses. Just like we read in Psalms. He was doing it back then, and now he's doing it again in the flesh. Verse 25, go ahead.
Verse 25. And there followed him great multitudes of people from Galilee and from Decapolis and from Jerusalem and from Judea and from beyond Jordan.
See, here they come now. You know, Israel always wants something free anyway. So if I get a chance to get healed for free, why not? So here comes everybody to come and see Jesus right here. He's healing all manner of sicknesses. Physical sickness, mental sickness, and spiritually sick. He's healing them all. Let's go now. Let's go to Luke, the 8th chapters. Luke 8, and we're going to pick it up at verse 40. Luke 8 and 40. When the Lord said he healed all manner of sickness, he heals all manner of sicknesses. Luke 8, and we're going to pick it up at verse 40. Now here's a woman right here that had an issue of blood for 12 years. Can you imagine that? 12 years. Look who she went to first. Luke 8, and we're going to pick it up at verse 40. Go ahead and read.
Luke 8, verse 40. And it came to pass that when Jesus was returned, the people gladly received him, for they were all waiting for him.
I know they were. Is he coming to our town next? Because look, I got a disease I need to get healed of. So now the people waiting on him. Can you just think about that for a minute? He got thousands of people waiting on him. Already got thousands of people following him. Now he got people waiting on him. Go ahead and read.
Verse 41. And behold, there came a man named Jairus, and he was a ruler of the synagogue. And he fell down at Jesus' feet and besought him that he would come into his house. For he had one only daughter, about 12 years of age, and she lay a dying. But as he went, the people thronged him. Now, we're not going to read about the man's daughter and everything, but I want you to read about this woman that had this issue. So now, he's actually going to this man's house to heal his daughter, which later on she died and Jesus raised her, right? But then the people start grabbing on him and stuff and throwing them, right? Now look what happened. Go ahead, verse 43. Verse 43. And a woman having an issue of blood 12 years, which has spent all her living upon physicians. See, she done spent all her money on, you know how it is. You still got them bills from your doctors, right? In fact, most of our big bills right there, besides our mortgage and our car payment, it is doctor bills. Doctors filling you up with medicine and want to test you for this and test you for that and everything. So now this woman done spent all her money on physicians. She had an issue of blood for 12 years. Go ahead and read. Neither could be healed of any. Look, she done spent all her money. She still didn't get healed. You know how you done went and spent all your money and you still not healed? Even was watching the video, it made me watch the video because then they were talking about diabetes. And I want to know what is this that y'all talking about that's going to kill me in 4 weeks?
So it wind up, it was cinnamon and chromium. I'm just going to tell y'all so you don't have to watch the video. Video about 40 minutes. I'm sitting there like, just tell me what it is, man. You got to take me through all this other stuff. But anyway, so now she done spent all her money on these physicians and they still didn't heal her. But look at what happened. Go ahead and read.
Verse 44. Came behind him and touched the border of his garment.
Read that verse 43 again.
Verse 43. And a woman having an issue of blood 12 years, which has spent all her living upon physicians, neither could be healed of any. Neither could be healed of any. Go ahead. Came behind him and touched the border of his garment, and immediately her issue of blood stanched.
Woo! After 12 years. You know why? Because the Lord healed all sicknesses. Now, he didn't even know who had touched him. But he said, I felt the virtue go out of my body. You see what happened to her though, right? Immediately, her issue was stenched. Meaning that blood issue that she had, it stopped. Go ahead and read.
And Jesus said, who touched me?
They're like, well, who touched me? Now, she just touched the hem of his garment, but he felt the virtue go out of her. Right? Out of him, rather. He felt the virtue go out of him. He's like, who touched me? Now, look at what the disciples going to say. Go ahead.
When all denied, Peter and they that were with him said, Master, the multitude throng thee and press thee. And sayest thou, who touched me? He
said, look, Master, they all touch, everybody grabbing you and stuff and throwing you and everything. And you going to say, who touched me? Go ahead and read.
And Jesus said, somebody have touched me. For I perceive that virtue is gone out of me.
He said, I perceive that virtue is gone. Somebody touched me, man. And I perceive that virtue has gone out of me. Go ahead and read.
Verse 47. And when the woman saw that she was not hid, she came trembling and falling down before him. She declared unto him before all the people for what cause she had touched him, and how she was healed immediately.
Now she's telling everybody, look, why she told the Lord why she touched him, and immediately she was healed. Immediately. Go ahead and read.
And he said unto her, Daughter, be of good comfort. Thy faith hath made thee whole. Go in peace.
Ooh. He said, your faith hath made thee whole. Now, if Asa had faith in God, then the Lord would have healed him of that disease in his feet. So he said, your faith has made you whole. So don't just pray to God if you get sick. Don't just pray. When you pray to God, believe that you're going to be healed. So he said, your faith has made you whole. Let's go now. Let's go to Psalms the 30th chapter. Psalms the 30th chapter. And we're going to pick it up at verse 1. Psalms 30 and 1. Because sometimes you got to cry out to the Lord. Sometimes you got to cry out to him. And the Lord will hear you. He will hear you. Go ahead and read. Psalms 30 and verse 1. Go ahead and read.
Psalms 30, verse 1. I will extol thee, O Lord, for thou hast lifted me up, and hast not made my foes to rejoice over me.
Go ahead.
O Lord my God, I cried unto thee, and thou hast healed me.
He said, I cried unto you, and thou hast healed me. Sometimes you got to take it to another level. You understand? When you're sick, you want the Lord to heal you. Sometimes you got to cry out to him. He said, I cried unto thee, and thou healed me. Go ahead and read.
O Lord, thou hast brought up my soul from the grave.
Wait a minute. He was almost dead then. He said, thou hast brought my soul from the grave. And by the way, soul, body, same thing. Because that's what goes in the grave. It is a body, right? So he said, oh Lord, thou hast brought my soul from the grave. He was almost dead. And thou hast kept me alive, that I should not go down into the pit into the grave. So this man right here, he was almost dead. He said, you healed me. You kept my soul from the grave. And God will do that for you. Sometimes you got to cry out to him. Especially you walking in righteousness, you cry out to the Lord. He will hear you. If it is his will to hear you now. To heal you, rather. If it's his will. Skip to verse 5. Skip to verse 5. Go ahead and read.
Verse 5.
Uh-huh.
For his anger endureth but a moment.
Uh-huh.
In his favor is life. Weeping may endure for a night.
Uh-huh.
But joy cometh in the morning.
Weeping may, because a lot of times that's when you get really sick at night. And then you wake up in the morning, you cured. You're like, man, I feel good. Open up the window and everything and singing. Weeping endure for the night, but joy comes in the morning. Go ahead and read. But we're going to stop right there. We're going to stop right there. Let's go now. Let's go to 2 Kings, the 20th chapter. 2 Kings, because he said, I cried unto you, and you healed me. 2 Kings, the 20th chapter. 2 Kings, the 20th chapter. And that is good to know, man, that you can depend on the Lord when you get sick. You can call upon the Lord. That's you walking in righteousness. You can call upon the Lord, and he will heal you. 2 Kings 20. 2 Kings 20, and we're going to pick it up at verse 1. 2 Kings 20 and 1. When you get it, brother, go ahead and read.
2 Kings 20, verse 1. In those days was Hezekiah sick unto death.
Uh-huh.
And the prophet Isaiah the son of Amos came to him and said unto him, Thus saith the Lord, set thine house in order, for thou shalt die and not live. Man,
that is really something. This is a prophet coming to you telling you that you get ready to die, and there's some truth to what he's saying. So he was sick unto death. So Isaiah come here, man, set your house in order. Get your affairs together, because you're about to die. Most people would ran and hollered and jumped out the window somewhere. But look at what Hezekiah did. Go ahead and read.
Verse 2.
Uh-huh.
Then he turned his face to the wall and prayed unto the Lord, saying.
Now look, he just turned his face to the wall. He weeping, but he turned his face to the wall. And he started praying to the Lord. Go ahead and read.
I beseech thee, O Lord, remember now how I have walked before thee in truth and with a perfect heart. And have done that which is good in thy sight. Now,
how many of us can say this? I did that which was good in your sight, Lord. I walked in your ways. Go ahead and read.
And Hezekiah wept sore.
I know he did. The prophet told him to come, get your affairs in order, man, because you about to die. Hezekiah just turned to the wall and started praying to the Lord, weeping. Because sometimes you got to cry out to the Lord. And then he'll heal you. Verse 4, go ahead and read.
Verse 4. And it came to pass, afore Isaiah was gone out into the middle court, that the word of the Lord came to him, saying.
Now look, the word before Isaiah he had to leave off from him. And now when he's in the middle court, the word of the Lord came back to him again. Go ahead and read.
Turn again and tell Hezekiah, the captain of my people. Thus saith the Lord, the God of David thy father. I have heard thy prayer. I have seen thy tears.
Now I know he had to be happy there when he heard this part. At least God heard my prayers and seen my tears.
Behold, I will heal thee.
I know he was like, he said, behold, I'm going to heal you. So he knew that he was going to die, but now he also knows that he's going to live, and the Lord is going to heal him. Go ahead and read.
On the third day, thou shalt go up unto the house of the Lord, And I will add unto thy days 15 years.
I will take it. 15 years. Oh, yes, I will take it. And so the Lord's going to command him to do something, because the Lord will give you medicine too. That's why I say when you go to the doctors, if we tell you to take some medicine, and you feel that medicine going to heal you, and provided you, if you know something that medicine not going to heal you, then maybe you want to think about that. Because see, some of the medicines that we take got side effects to it, do you worse than what you're trying to cure. You might want to think about that. But the Lord knows how to heal with medicine. His don't have no side effects. Only side effect, you're going to get is some good side effects. He said, I will add unto thy days 15 years, and I will, go ahead and read.
And I will deliver thee and this city out of the hand of the king of Assyria. And I will defend this city for my own sake. And for my servant David's sake.
Go ahead.
And Isaiah said,
look, even going to deliver his enemy into his hands. That is really something. He didn't even ask for that. Go ahead and read.
Verse 7. And Isaiah said, take a lump of figs. And they took and laid it on the boy. And he recovered. And he recovered. Look, just take some figs and lay it on the boil, and you're going to recover. God got medicine too. He's got medicine. You know, all these natural medicines that's in the earth now that the doctor's trying to keep you away from. You know that, right? You know why they're trying to keep you. God got medicines, natural medicines for you. But the doctor's trying to keep it away, keep you away from that. And so you can take his medicine so he can get paid. But in some cases now, some of the medicines that they got will help heal you. But there's also natural medicines, herbs that God's got that will heal you. So now, he just told him to do something simple. Take the lump of fig and put it on the boil. And that was it. He was cured. Now, let's go now. Let's go to James, the 5th chapter. James, the 5th chapter. Because sometimes just prayer will work. Sometimes just prayer will work. We're at James 5, and we're going to pick it up at verse 16. James 5 and 16. If you right before the Lord, then a lot of times that's what will work for you. Just prayer. You don't even need no medicine. Just pray. Sometimes you got to up it too. Sometimes you got to fast. You don't need no medicine. James 5, and we're going to pick it up at verse 16. James 5 and 16. Go ahead and read. James 5, verse 16. Confess your faults one to another. And pray one for another. Go ahead. That ye may be healed. And pray for one another that you may be healed. Pray for one another that you may be healed. Go ahead and read. The effectual, fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much. See, if you walking in righteousness, and you, a lot of times, you're walking in righteousness, you can go and pray for someone, and they will be healed. That's if you're walking in righteousness. The fervent prayer of the righteous man availeth much. God will hear that righteous man or that righteous woman that's praying for that person that's sick, and God will heal that person. Let's go now. Let's go to Mark, the 2nd chapter. Mark 2. Mark, the 2nd chapter. And we're going to pick it up in verse 15. Mark 2 and 15. Mark 2 and 15. Now look at what Jesus is going to tell these men right here. But he walking around with publicans and sinners. Jesus knew who he was walking around with. Like he didn't know. They didn't give Jesus no credit at all. Mark 2 and 15. Mark 2 and 15. Go ahead and read. Mark 2, verse 15. And it came to pass that as Jesus sat at meat in his house, many publicans and sinners sat also together with Jesus and his disciples.
Now, if he didn't shoo them away, then how can any other man shoo them away? Go ahead and read.
For there were many, and they followed him. And when the scribes and Pharisees saw him eat with publicans and sinners, they said unto his disciples, how is it that he eateth and drinketh with publicans and sinners?
Now, because Jesus, he didn't care who you were. That's who he came for, the sick. So you a murderer or a thief, and you believed on him, you trying to get cured for that? You trying to get help for your problem? Jesus gonna help you. And that same thing with Israel's Church of the Living God. We don't turn nobody away. If you're trying to get help, then we will help you as best we can. We're gonna give you this book. But that's gonna be your healing medicine right there. Here's your medicine right here. Take this book and do what it tells you to do. There your healing is right there. Your medicine. Go ahead and read. So the publicans saw, and they looking at him like, hey man, Jesus must not know who he hanging out with. He hanging out with publicans and sinners. Go ahead and read.
Verse 17. When Jesus heard it, he saith unto them, they that are whole have no need of the physician.
He said, they that are whole they that are whole have no need of a physician. Go ahead and read.
But they that are sick, I came not to call the righteous, but sinners to repentance.
Did you all just see that? He called the sinners and the public, he called them sick. Because if you going around sinning, that's a sickness. You're going around lying, stealing, killing, committing adultery, all these things, that is a sickness. Now, Jesus just called that a sickness. And so if you're doing these things, then you are sick. You are spiritually, you sick. Let's go now. Let's go to Isaiah, the 1st chapter. Now look at what he's saying about Israel right here. He wasn't talking about them physically being sick. He was talking about them mentally being sick. Let's go to Isaiah, the 1st chapter. Isaiah 1. And we're going to pick it up at verse 2. Isaiah 1 and verse 2. Everybody got it?
Amen.
Go ahead and read.
Isaiah 1 verse 2. Hear, O heavens, and give ear, O earth, for the Lord hath spoken. I have nourished and brought up children, and they have rebelled against me.
See, that's, when you rebel against the Lord, that's what you're doing. You are sinning against him. And therefore, you are sick. You got to be sick if you going up against the Lord and going to contrary to him after he done had it written in a book what he's going to do to the sinners. Because sinners, willful sinners, they going into the fire, right? So you got to have something mentally going on if you know he going to do this and you still doing it. There's a sickness going on in your head. Hey, look, the Lord going to toss me in some fire and I'm still sinning? Something wrong. Something wrong up here. There's got to be something wrong. I'm talking about for those who know now. I'm not talking about for those who don't know, because some people don't. They don't know that they sinning against the Lord. If you are keeping the Sabbath, some people don't even know nothing about no Sabbath. I'm talking about for the ones who do know about the Sabbath, and then they don't keep it. And then the ones and then you got people that's out there that do know that lying is a sin, and they still do it. That's a sickness, man. And Jesus telling you, Isaiah is telling you right here, that is a sickness. Go ahead and read that verse 2 again.
Verse 2. Hear, O heavens, and give ear, O earth, for the Lord hath spoken. I have nourished and brought up children, and they have rebelled against me.
They have rebelled against me. Go ahead and read.
The ox knoweth his owner, and the ass his master's crib. But Israel doth not know. My people doth not consider.
They don't even consider me. They don't know me. They don't consider me. Go ahead and read.
A sinful nation.
A what?
A sinful nation.
A sinful nation.
A people laden with iniquity.
He said, a people laden with iniquity. That's all they got on their mind is sin. Laden with iniquity. And they not only have it on their mind, they commit these sins against the Lord. Did the Lord say they have rebelled against me? When you start sinning, you rebelling against the Lord, and your mind is sick. It is sick. A simple nation of people laden with iniquity.
A seed of evildoers.
A seed of evildoers. Go ahead.
Children that are corrupters. They have forsaken the Lord. They have provoked the Holy One of Israel unto anger. They are gone away backwards.
You see people like that. You know, they sinned against the Lord, but yet then they turn around and they start praying to Him. After you done sinned. You know, how can you go and sin and then come pray to the Lord? I'll be so ashamed. I'll be so ashamed. You know, go out and sin, and then I couldn't pray to the Lord for, it'd be days before I could pray to the Lord, man, because I'd be so shameful. He said, these people right here, they are evil doers. Go ahead and read.
Children that are corrupters. They have forsaken the Lord. They have provoked the Holy One of Israel unto anger.
Go ahead.
They are gone away backwards.
They are gone away backwards. Go ahead and verse 5.
Why should ye be stricken any more? You will revolt more and more. The whole head is sick.
The whole head is what?
It's sick.
It is sick. See, that's what's happening with the children of Israel at this time. They sinned against the Lord. The Lord called them sick. And right now, I don't care who you are, whether you're Israel or not. If you're going against the Lord and contrary to His word, you are sick. But right here, he said the whole head is sick. Man, that's sick, ain't it? And then we're not talking about physically sick. We're talking about mentally sick. He said the whole head is sick.
And the whole heart faint. From the sole of the foot even into the head. There is no soundness in it.
There is no soundness in it. Now, we're not talking about physically sick. They are mentally sick. Mentally. He said, from the sole of the foot even to the head, there is no soundness in it.
But wounds and bruises and purifying sores.
And petrifying sores.
They have not been closed, neither bound up, neither mollified with ointment.
Man, he said their whole body is sick. Their whole body is sick. Let's go now. Let's go to Jeremiah, the 8th chapter. Jeremiah, the 8th chapter. Let's see how they got sick. How did they get sick according to the mind? Right here. Let's go to Jeremiah, the 8th chapter. We're going to pick it up at verse 4. Jeremiah 8 and 4. And there's nothing changed. Nothing has changed. This people is still laden with iniquity. Still laden with iniquity. Jeremiah 8, and we're going to pick it up at verse 4. Jeremiah 8 and 4. Go ahead and read it.
Jeremiah 8, verse 4. Moreover, thou shalt say unto them, Thus saith the Lord, shall they fall and not arise? Shall he turn away and not return?
Go ahead.
Why then is this people of Jerusalem slidden back?
Go ahead.
By a perpetual backsliding.
By a perpetual backsliding. You know what perpetual means, right? Perpetual means everlasting. So he's just telling you that these people backslide continuously. They don't stop. I whoop on them, kick them out the land, send them into captivity, and they still keep back, bring them back to the land, heal them mentally, and then they still backslide on me. Go ahead and read.
They hold fast deceit. They refuse to return.
They refuse to return. Go ahead and read.
I hearkened and heard, but they spake not aright. No man repented him of his wickedness, saying, what have I done? Everyone turned on his course, as the horse rusheth into the battle.
See, they spiritually, or mentally, they are sick. Their mind was totally defiled. Go ahead and read. What verse you at?
Verse 7. Yea, the stork in the heaven knoweth her appointed time. And the turtle and the crane and the swallow observe the time of their coming. But my people know not the judgment of the Lord. How do you say, we are wise, and the law of the Lord is with us? Lo, certainly, in vain made he it. The pen of the scribes in his vein.
See, he said, how do you say we are wise and the law of the Lord is with us? You see people like that, Israelites like that. The law of the Lord is with us. We teach the law and everything. But then, when it comes time for them to do the works of the Lord, they're not there. You don't see them. How do you say we are wise and the law of the Lord is with us? Lo, certainly in vain made he it. The pen of the scribe is in vain. He wrote down his word for nothing. As when it comes to the children of Israel, this is who he gave it to. But it was written in vain because they wouldn't do it. Verse 9, go ahead.
Verse 9. The wise men are ashamed. They are dismayed and taken. Lo, they have rejected the word of the Lord. And what wisdom is in them.
See, once you reject the word of the Lord, you don't have no wisdom. And how do you reject the word of the Lord? You don't do what he tells you to do and start doing the opposite. Then that's when you reject the word of the Lord. Go ahead and read.
Verse 10. Therefore will I give their wives unto others, and their fields to them that shall inherit them.
Go ahead.
For everyone from the least even unto the greatest is given to covenant.
Now that is really something. He said, I'm going to take their wives from them and give it to somebody else. Maybe you'll straighten up then. But they just go try to get them another wife. There will I give their wives unto others, and their fields to them that shall inherit them. Go ahead and read.
From the prophet, even unto the priest, everyone dealeth falsely.
See, they sick. Even the priest sick. So you know if the priest and the prophet, if they sick, what's going to happen to the people? They're going to get sick too. It's just like I got a cold and I start coughing around Brother Gerald and I keep on coughing around him. What's going to happen? He's going to get sick. Then he start coughing around everybody else. What's going to happen? Everybody going to get sick. Go ahead and read.
Verse 11. For they have healed the hurt of the daughter of my people slightly.
Slightly.
Saying, peace, peace, when there is no peace.
When there is no peace. So he said he healed the daughter of my people slightly. Saying peace, peace, when there is no peace. You're not going to have no peace when you're sinning against the Lord. When your mind is sick, you understand? By sinning against the Lord, you're not going to have no peace. Skip to verse 13. Skip to verse 13. Go ahead and read it.
Verse 13. I will surely consume them, saith the Lord.
So you're not going to get away with sinning against the Lord. And you can't go to them and say, well, Lord, you know, I didn't know this and I didn't. The ones that know and don't do, they're going to get whooped with many stripes. But the ones that don't know and don't do, they still going to get whooped with stripes. So it ain't like you going to get away. You can't plead ignorant with the Lord. He said, I will surely consume them, saith the Lord.
There shall be no grapes on the vine, nor figs on the fig tree.
Verse 1, the first thing you do, I'm going to take your food. I'm going to take your wife from you, and I'm going to take your food away from you. I'm going to starve you out. And then you'll straighten up, because you know Israel, they like to eat. You take away his food, he do whatever you ask him. Go ahead and read. Have you digging up the potatoes like the Irish were? It was starving, right? And so next thing you know, the Lord done dried up the land. So they got potatoes that they were growing. Man, did you see they were digging them potatoes out the ground eating them? The Lord know how to do you. It just stop the rain. You ain't got to do nothing big. I ain't got to come and slap your head off. I just won't let it rain on your land. Then you're going to start starving. Then, next thing I know, you bowing down to me, praying to me then. Go ahead and read. What verse you at?
In the middle of 13.
Read, start 13 over.
Verse 13. I will surely consume them, saith the Lord. There shall be no grapes on the vine, nor figs on the fig tree. And the leaf shall fade, and the things that I have given them shall pass away from them.
Look, if you don't want to do like I tell you, the things that I've given you, I'm going to take away from you. I gave you all the good food and everything, the good clothes. So now you don't want to do like I tell you to do? You want to be sick in the head? Okay, you're really fixing to be sick now, the stomach. Go ahead and read.
Verse 14. Why do we sit still? Assemble yourselves, and let us enter into the defense cities, and let us be silent there. For the Lord our God hath put us to silence.
Because you know how to get humble then, don't you? Lord, take away your money, take away the money to get the food. All right? Now you can't pay your bills, you walk around the house humble now. You understand? You were walking around arrogant, sinning against the Lord. Because you know a fool and his money will soon part. My old cousin used to tell me that, Gus, Rod man, a fool and his money will soon part. You out there acting crazy, the Lord take that money from you. Then you be walking around humble. Go ahead and read.
And given us water of gall to drink. Because we have sinned against the Lord.
He said he has given us gall to drink. Because we have sinned against the Lord. That's a humbling thing. The Lord start taking stuff from you. You know how to get humble then. Stop sinning. Skip down to verse 19. Skip to verse 19. Go ahead and read it.
Verse 19. Behold the voice of the cry of the daughter of my people. Because of them that dwell in a far country. Is not the Lord in Zion? Is not her king in her? Why have thy provoked me to anger with their graven images and with strange vanities?
Go ahead.
The harvest is past. The summer is ended. And we are not saved. For the hurt of the daughter of my people and my hurt. I am black. Astonishment have taken hold on me.
Go ahead.
Is there no balm in Gilead?
Is there no balm in Gilead? You understand? The Lord, he is the physician. He says, is there no balm in Gilead? Go ahead.
Is there no physician there? Why then is not the health of the daughter of my people recovered?
He said, why then has not the health of my people, of the daughter of my people recovered? And we're going to show you what this balm of Gilead is. Let's go now. We're going to come back to this a little bit later. We're going to come back to this a little later. We're going to show you what that balm in Gilead is in a minute. But let's go to Matthew the 17th chapter. Matthew 17. Matthew 17, and we're going to pick it up at verse 14. Matthew 17 and 14. Matthew 17 and 14, because here's another way you can be mentally sick. Matthew 17 and 14. Go ahead and read it.
Matthew 17, verse 14. And when they were come to the multitude, there came to him a certain man, kneeling down to him and saying, Lord, have mercy on my son, for he is a lunatic. He is lunatic.
He got some screws loose up here. Go ahead and read.
And sore vexed.
For
oft times he falleth into the fire.
Now you know something was wrong with him. He jumped in the fire, but it wasn't enough. He wasn't that sick because while he jumped out of the fire, where did he jump in? Go ahead and read.
And off into the water.
He knew to go back in that water. He jumping in and out though. So you know something is wrong up here. But it wasn't enough for him to stay in that fire. He had to jump in that water. Go ahead and read.
Verse 16. And I brought him to thy disciples, and they could not cure him. Then Jesus answered and said, O faithless and perverse generation.
Go ahead.
How long shall I be with you? And how long shall I suffer you? Bring him hither to me.
Now, do you see what he called him? He said, you're a perverse generation. You old faithless and perverse generation. How long am I going to be with you to suffer you? Bring him here to me. So Jesus getting ready to heal him now. Go ahead and read.
And Jesus rebuked the devil.
He did what?
And Jesus rebuked the devil.
Because sometimes people got the devil in them. You know, you might think it's a chemical imbalance. It might not be no chemical imbalance. I remember one time I was walking around in the airport and it was a sister. And I ain't trying to talk about her because whatever problem she had, her and God knows. But she was walking around the airport, just walking with a bag and a rag on her head and the coat. She just walking. That you know, she wasn't trying to get on no plane or nothing. And she walking and mumbling to herself. And you see, I saw a person like that. That was yesterday. I was bagging my truck in, and the guy was standing there mumbling to himself. Young brother standing there mumbling to himself. I don't know. An evil spirit could have taken a hold of him. I don't know. But this is another way you can be mentally sick. Go ahead and read.
18. And Jesus rebuked the devil, and he departed out of him.
Jesus rebuked the devil, and he departed out of him.
And the child was cured from that very hour. Then came the disciples to Jesus apart and said, Why could not he cast him out? And Jesus
Why
said,
could we not cast him out?
I'm sorry. Why could not we cast him out? And Jesus said unto them, Because of your unbelief.
Because of your, see, you have to believe. When you pray to the Lord, you have to believe that he's going to do this. He's going to heal you. Don't keep asking the same thing over and over. Don't keep doubting. Believe he's going to heal you. Go ahead and read.
And Jesus said unto them, Because of your unbelief. For verily I say unto you, if ye have faith as a grain of mustard seed.
What did he tell that woman earlier? He said, Woman, thy faith hath made thee whole. Now he's telling them right here, if you have faith of a grain of a mustard seed,
you shall say unto this mountain, remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove.
Go ahead.
And nothing shall be impossible unto you.
Ooh, did y'all catch that? He said, and nothing shall be impossible unto you. Nothing. So if you got a disease and you there's a means to cure it, then you go ahead and cure it. But you most assuredly you want to call upon the Lord first, because he's going to give you the strength to do it. And he's going to give you the wherewithal to do it. Go ahead and read.
Verse 22.
Now he go up it a little bit right here. So it will, you know, this healing comes by what? Go ahead and read.
Verse 21. My bad. Howbeit, this kind goeth not out but by prayer and fasting.
Sometimes you gotta up it. You gotta up the ante a little bit. Not only do you have to pray, sometimes you gotta fast and let the Lord see that you are serious. Because that's the man's most basic necessity right there is food, water. And you take that away, and you take that away from yourself, and the Lord see that you are serious. He knows that you mean business. Let's go now. Let's go to Luke, the 8th chapter. Let's look at this again. Luke, the 8th chapter. And we're going to pick up to verse 27. I believe that this is real, man. I believe that the Lord will heal. I believe he will heal. And don't get me wrong. Your doctor, like I said earlier, telling you to take some medicine, and you know you got an idea that this medicine gonna heal you, then you take it. Because God is the one who gives the doctors the medicine to give you. I'm not saying you got to take all medicine. I'm not saying that. Find out what you are taking. Look at the side effects. If the side effects are worse than what the cure is going to cure you, then maybe you might want to think about that. And look at some natural healings. Luke the 8th chapter, Luke 8, and a lot of us Israelites, we do use herbs and stuff. Luke 8 and 27. Luke 8 and 27. Go ahead and read it.
Luke 8, verse 27.
Uh-huh.
And when he went forth to land, there met him out of the city a certain man,
Uh-huh.
which had devils long time,
Go ahead.
and wear no clothes.
Now look, you know something wrong with him. He ain't got no clothes. he met with Jesus though, naked. No, Jesus had me looking at him like, man, go put on some clothes. So now he done met with Jesus, and he is not dressed. Go ahead and read.
Neither abode in any house,
Uh-huh.
but in the tombs.
But he won't, look, he running around in the tomb. Now, you know that's not usual right there for people to be running around in no graveyards, right? Especially Israel, because we scared already. Don't let it get dark. So that is something wrong up here, right? And this Israelite, so you know something wrong with him. He run around naked, and then he run in the graveyard. Something got to be wrong with him. I know Jesus has been looking at him like, well, what you doing? Go put on some clothes. But something was wrong with him. Go ahead and read.
Verse 28.
Uh-huh.
When he saw Jesus, he cried out and fell down before him.
Uh-oh, he knows who Jesus is. He cried out and fell down before him. Uh-huh.
And with a loud voice said, What have I to do with thee, Jesus,
Uh-huh.
thou Son of God, Most High? I beseech thee, torment me not.
Now look, there's the devil in him talking. He said, torment me not. What have thou to do with me? Torment me not. Go ahead and read.
Verse 29.
Uh-huh.
For he had commanded the unclean spirit to come out of the man.
Uh-huh. Now look, Jesus just said, come out of him. Ain't that something? Jesus already diagnosed him because he's the greatest physician. Y'all know that, right? So he had already diagnosed him and everything. Then he just said, come out of him. Go ahead and read. What verse you at?
In the middle of 29.
Start at verse 29 again.
Verse 29. For he had commanded the unclean spirit to come out of the man.
Uh-huh.
For the oftentimes it had caught him, and he was kept bound with chains and in fetters.
Uh-huh.
And he brake the bands.
Now look, he had some strength, didn't he? Now he breaking chains and stuff. I remember when we were little, I had to be about 4 or 5 years old. We had this guy, he was a little older than us, named James. Right? And so James would, he would get a little crazy sometimes. He just started sounding like he was, growling like a dog. We were little kids, we get away from him, but, this was our friend. He was a little bit older than us. One day, James pulled the stop sign out of the ground and started swinging at the police. That's how strong he. Now, James probably had an evil spirit on him. Because when he was with us, walking around with us, laughing and stuff, he was cool. Well, something came over him, just like this guy right here. It said oftentimes that devil would catch him, right? So it sounded like this is what was happening to James. One day we were standing outside, and he had started acting crazy, and next thing you know, the police pulled up, and he done pulled a stop sign out the ground. He was wiggling like this. Next thing he had in his hand, swinging it. And we 4 years old, we just looking like, what's wrong with James? Hope you'll be all right tomorrow. So they took him to the hospital and did whatever they did with him. And about a week later, he was back. James, you all right, man? Yeah, I'm all right. But he was like snap, man. Just like we read about this guy right here. He was like snap. And the police, he started swinging that pole, boy. They were standing back. They would stand back from him because they know that you come close, you come any closer, you get hit. Go ahead and read. Now, James, he couldn't have been no more because we about, I don't know, I guess we're about 5. We was on Cottage Grove. He could have been no more about 10 or 12 or something like that. But anyway, now that I think about it, man, why was I hanging out with him? Why was I hanging out with this guy? But anyway, what verse you at?
In the middle of 29.
Go ahead.
And was driven of the devil into the wilderness.
Now this guy, now he was driven into the wilderness now by the devil. Go ahead, the devil was on him. But Jesus had him. Jesus had him, right? Jesus got everything under control because he is the #1 doctor. He cures all sicknesses. I don't care if you are possessed with a spirit. Jesus can cure that. Go ahead and read. Go ahead and read. Verse 30. Go ahead.
Verse 30. And Jesus asked him, saying, what is thy name? And he said, Legion. Because many devils were entered into him.
Many devils were entered into him. Not just one, but many devils were entered into him.
And they besought him that he would not command them to go out into the deep.
Now, wait a minute. Now, these are the devils that's in him. Asking Jesus, look, don't send us into the deep. Go ahead and read.
And there was there an herd of many swine feeding on the mountain. And they besought him that he would suffer them to enter into them. And he suffered them.
Now look, he even got mercy on the devils. Look at this. Lord had mercy. He could have just sent them out into the deep, right? And killed them or whatever. But he had mercy on it. There's a herd of swine over there. Why not let us go into them? They went into the swine. Go ahead and read.
Verse 33. Then went the devils out of the man. And entered into the swine. And the herd ran violently down a steep place into the lake. And were choked.
Look, they done killed the swine. The devils went into the swine, and the swine went into the water and died. Verse 34. Go ahead and read.
Then they that fed them saw that was done. They fled and went and told it in the city and in the country.
Now, because I know they had to be looking like, what? You know how you had to take a second look? You can't believe what just happened? And so the Lord sent them devils into that herd of swine. And next thing you know, the swine took off into the lake and choked. And the people looked, hey man, what's going on here? Now they're going back and telling people about this. Verse 35, go ahead.
Then they went out to see what was done. And came to Jesus and found the man, out of whom the devils were departed, sitting at the feet of Jesus, clothed. And in his right mind. And he was clothed in his right mind. Because the Lord cast out devils as well. Go ahead and finish that. And they were afraid.
Now, let's go now. Let's go to Psalm the 73rd chapter. Psalm 73. Psalm 73, and we're going to read one verse. Psalm 73 and verse 26. Psalm 73 and verse 26. Because people get sick. Your body gets sick. Your mind will get sick. And that's why it's important for you to trust in the Lord. Because something happened to your mind where you can't think no more and you've been serving God, He got you. He got you. Psalm 73, and we're going to pick it up in verse 26. Go ahead and read that.
Psalm 73, verse 26.
Uh-huh.
My flesh and my heart faileth.
He said, my flesh and my heart faileth. Because your mind can fail you. Notice something. Us older people, you can't remember like you used to. Something's happening up in your mind. You know, I'll go be standing up in the room. I need to go up downstairs and get my glasses. Get downstairs. Hey, what did I come up down here for? You understand? Your memory start going. And that just comes with old age. Your flesh fail. Some people sick all the time. That's why it's important for you to be in the Word of God. Because if something happened to your mind where you can't think no more, you've been serving God. He got you. He said, my flesh and my heart faileth.
But God is the strength of my heart.
But God is the strength of my mind. That's what hardness is. Because see, if something happened to your mind, people get Alzheimer's. You've been serving God, the Lord got you. God is the strength of my heart, which is my mind.
And my portion forever.
And my portion forever. The Lord is going to take care of his servants. Because the servants of the Lord get sick too. The servants of the Lord get sick in their body. The servants of the Lord get sick in their mind. Meaning their mind, their memory might go or whatever. You heard, well, like I said, that disease you got called Alzheimer's. They call it Alzheimer's. But if you've been serving God while you had a good mind, your mind was clear, the Lord got you. He got you. Let's go now. Let's go to Proverbs 3. Proverbs 3. Go right on over to Proverbs, the 3rd chapter, and we're going to pick it up in verse 5. Because that's what we got to do. You got to trust in the Lord. That's why he say, always trust in the Lord. Don't never leave God. Always trust in him. Because you never know what might happen to you. You never know what might happen to you. Because servants of God get sick too. And they die too. We have Proverbs, the 3rd chapter. We're going to pick it up at verse 5. Proverbs 3 and 5. Go ahead and read it.
Proverbs 3, verse 5. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart.
With what?
Trust in the Lord with all thine heart.
With all your heart,
And lean not unto your own understanding.
Keep reading.
In all thy ways acknowledge him. And he shall direct thy paths.
Go ahead.
Be not wise in thine own eyes.
See, you don't be wise in your own eyes. Trying to do things on your own. You try to find a cure on your own for your sickness. No, the Lord is the cure. Amen. He is your cure. So he said, be not wise in thine own eyes.
Fear the Lord and depart from evil. It shall be health to thy navel.
It shall be health to thy navel.
And marrow to thy bones.
And marrow to thy bones. So now he said, depart from evil. And when you depart from evil, it shall be health to thy navel and marrow to thy bones. The Lord is going to strengthen you. Once you depart from evil, he will strengthen you. He will strengthen your mind and he will strengthen your body. Let's go now. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 12. 1 Corinthians 12. Because we know that the Lord gives his servants gifts. We know the Lord, and men can heal you. God will heal you through men, I should say. We know that God is in the healing business, and he will use men to do it sometime. We have 1 Corinthians 12, 1 Corinthians 12, and we're going to pick it up in verse 1. 1 Corinthians 12 and 1. Go ahead and read it.
1 Corinthians 12, verse 1. Now concerning spiritual gifts, brethren, I would not have you ignorant.
I would not have you ignorant concerning spiritual gifts. Verse 8. Skip to verse 8. Go ahead.
Verse 8. For to one is given by the Spirit the word of wisdom. To another, the word of knowledge by the same Spirit.
Go ahead.
To another, faith by the same Spirit. To another, the gifts of healing.
The gifts of what?
The gifts of healing.
The gifts of healing. So God will heal you through men sometime. I'm not talking about those big old preachers, big preachers on TV. They be talking about, you are healed. And you got 1,000 people, they fall out. I ain't talking about that. Or sow a seed and the Lord will heal you. Take this handkerchief or this little bottle of spring water and the Lord is going to bless you. Put it in the book or write a letter and put it on a letter. And the Lord's going to heal you. But make sure you sow a seed now. Because that's all they're looking for is money. They ain't healing nobody. I remember Bob, Brother Bob, he hadn't come into the Word yet. He told me, he said, man, he went to see this big preacher in California because he called himself healing all these people. Just heal. And everybody was healed. Thousands of people, right? So he said, well, I'm going. So he go to California because he was diabetic. He had it pretty bad. So he going to California. I'm going to get healed too. So he's standing in the audience at the place. And next thing you know, the man started talking about heal, you're healed. And Bob's standing there. He ain't feel, they said, I ain't feel nothing. But I know I had to hurry up and get my butt back to Chicago to get back to the doctor. He was on dialysis. And I also remember when Bob got real sick. And he was almost at the point to die. And he went up in the room with Brother Bowie and a couple of other brothers. And they prayed over and anointed with oil. And the Lord healed Bob for a while. I think the Lord gave him like 3-4 more years. I'm telling you, man, the Lord, he works. He'll work for you. You serving God, he'll work for you. Because Bob lived like 3-4 years after that. Even had died one time, and they brought him back to life. So he ain't see nothing. I said, Bob, what did you see? Man, it faded to black. You know how people talk about they floated off somewhere and all this. You ain't floating nowhere. If you did, you wasn't dead. I remember one time I was laying in bed and like I stood up and my body was still there. I said, what do I do? What do? And I got back in my body. But anyway. So God's word will heal you through men. And like I said, I'm not talking about these big TV evangelist preachers. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about God will heal you for real. You won't be having to talk about, man, I got to get back home to dialysis and all that. The Lord will heal you. Let's go now. Let's go to 1 Corinthians. I'm sorry, James, the 5th chapter, James 5. James 5. We just got a few more. James 5, and we're going to pick it up in verse 13. James 5 and 13. And then I want to tell y'all about a sister that just got healed. James 5 and 13. Go ahead and read it. James 5 and 13. When you get it, brother, go ahead and read.
James 5, verse 13. Is any among you afflicted? Let him pray. Is any merry? Let him sing psalms.
Go ahead.
Is any sick among you? Let him call for the elders of the church.
What if you can't? What if something just happened and something happened to you within and you don't have time to call no elders? The Lord will still be with you. Is any sick among you? Let him call for the elders of the church.
And let them pray over him.
And let them pray over him. Go ahead and read.
Anointing him with oil in the name of the Lord.
Go ahead.
And the prayer of faith shall save the sick. And the Lord shall raise him up. And if he have committed sins,
go ahead.
They shall be forgiven.
See, the Lord used men to heal. He used men to heal. He said, if anybody you're sick, let him go to the elders and pray and anoint him with oil. But what if you can't make it to no elder? and something just hit you like our sister did. Was it this week? On her way, or last week, on her way out of town to another country. And a sickness hit her, where she had to rush to the hospital. There's so much pain, she had to rush to the hospital. And they healed her. They had to go and do emergency surgery on her. But I said that to say this: God will heal you. You might not have time to go to no elder. Only place you can go to at that time, you go to the Lord and you can go to see that doctor. But I want to tell you also another story. And many of you might have heard of this. A man and his wife just recently went to Mexico. He was a diabetic. He went into a diabetic coma. Almost died in Mexico. Now, so he went to the hospital, no insurance, but they allowed him into the hospital and they healed him. Right? And so he got healed, and so now he's ready to go home. But they wouldn't let him go. You know why? Hey, brother, you got to take care of this bill we got here for you. You understand what I'm saying? So the Lord blessed our sister because she might have been in that country and got sick. Well, let me tell you what happened to this brother. So now, here's a brother and his wife. So now, he go, and they got guards at the door. What's going on? You got to pay this bill. Oh, no, I can't pay it. I ain't got the money. Well, you can't leave here then. So, of course, he sent back to his people, and some of his people sending him money, and but it wasn't enough because it was $14,000. Who got that kind of money? Israel ain't got that kind of money. So, brother, you're going to be in Mexico for a little while. But the Lord had mercy on him because he come Tyler Perry and paid his whole bill off. Praise God. Now, they said, what? Okay, that's good, your whole bill paid, but you're not well enough to go home yet. So you know what they going to do to him now, right? Some more money. Now, I could say they people come over here for free. Free room, free food, free medical. Thousands of them. And now you going to make this brother stay there and make him pay 14 grand? When your people come over here? Well, let me leave that alone. Anyway, let's go now. Let's go to, so you get sick, if you got time, then you call for the elder. You might not have time to call. You call on God and go see the doctor. And praise God, our sister went and saw the doctor, and the Lord had her worked on. And now she's at home healed. Praise God. Let's go now. Let's go to Mark, the 6th chapter, Mark 6. And we're going to pick it up in verse 7. Mark 6, and we're going to pick it up in verse 7. Because look at what Jesus has sent his disciples. He sent them on a mission. And look at what mission he gave them. Mark 6, and we're going to pick it up in verse 7. Mark 6 and verse 7. Go ahead and read it.
Mark 6, verse 7.
Uh-huh.
And he called unto him the 12.
Is your mic still on? We need some more batteries. Okay, heat. All right, just give us a second here. We're almost there, the batteries go out. All right. Everybody got it? Mark 6, verse 7. Go ahead. Will you get ready to play it? Verse 7, go ahead.
Mark 6, verse 7. And he called unto him the 12.
Uh-huh.
and began to send them forth by two and by two, and gave them power over unclean spirits.
Now, can you imagine that? The Lord giving his disciples power over unclean spirits? Because he has given gifts to men. He has given them these gifts. Go ahead and read. And that truly is a gift. Go ahead and read. I bet you we start healing people around here. Boy, we had to get us another building. We had to get our own building here, boy. Go ahead and read.
Verse 8.
Go ahead.
And commanded them that they should take nothing for their journey, save a staff only, no scrip, no bread, no money in their purse.
God has given them this power. The Lord has given them this power. Go ahead and read.
But he showed with sandals, and not put on two coats. And he said unto them, in what place soever ye enter into an house, there abide till ye depart from that place. And whosoever shall not receive you, nor hear you, when ye depart thence, shake off the dust under your feet for a testimony against them.
So see, the disciples are coming on the behalf of the Lord. That's just like you. If you're going to heal somebody, you're coming on the behalf of the Lord. So he said, they don't receive you. He said, shake the dust off of your feet and keep on stepping. Go ahead and read.
Verily I say unto you, it shall be more tolerable for Sodom and Gomorrah in the day of judgment than for that city.
Go ahead.
And they went out and preached that men should repent.
Go ahead. Now look at what they did. Go ahead.
And they cast out many devils.
And they cast out many devils,
and anointed with oil many that were sick.
And anointed with oil many that were sick. And so if you're sick and you want to get anointed with oil, we will pray over you and we will anoint you with oil. Go ahead and read.
And healed them.
And did what?
And healed
and
them.
Healed them. So now if you're sick and you want to get healed, we will pray over you and we will anoint you with oil. Let's go now. Let's go to James, the first chapter. James, the first chapter. James, the first chapter. And we realize how we have to ask the Lord. You know, when you come to the Lord and you want to get healed or you want the Lord to do something, whether it's a physical sickness, a mental sickness, or a spiritual sickness, you have to ask in faith. James 1 and 6. Go ahead and read.
James 1, verse 6. But let him ask in faith, nothing wavering, for he that wavereth is like a wave of the sea, driven with the wind and tossed.
Now, so he said, but let him ask in faith, nothing wavering. See, you can't be wavering. Well, you know, when you got faith in the Lord, you can't be, well, did the Lord hear that prayer? Oh, let me do it again. Maybe the Lord did hear that. I don't know. So you can't ask the Lord wavering. When you pray to the Lord, you have to have faith that the Lord is going to do what you ask him to do. Amen. Be that you being healed physically, mentally, or spiritually. You can't waver when you pray to the Lord. Let's go now. Let's go to Matthew, the 21st chapter, Matthew 21. And we're going to turn right to it. Matthew 21 and 22. Matthew 21 and 22. When you get it, brother, go ahead and read.
Matthew 21, verse 22. And all things, whatsoever ye shall ask in prayer.
He said, and all things, whatsoever shall ask in prayer, ye shall ask in prayer.
Believing.
Believing.
Ye shall receive.
You shall receive it. Ask in prayer. Whatever you ask the Lord in prayer, believe it, and you shall receive it. You don't get no plainer than that. Let's go to Deuteronomy now, because he asked that question in Jeremiah. Is there no balm in Gilead? Let's show you this bomb real quick. But first we're going to go to Deuteronomy 32nd chapter and remind you who is the one that killeth and maketh alive. Who is the one that heals? Deuteronomy 32 and 39. Deuteronomy 32 and 39. When you get it, brother, go ahead and read.
Deuteronomy 32, verse 39.
Uh-huh.
See now that I, even I, am he.
Uh-huh.
And there is no God with me.
And there is no God with me. Go ahead and read.
I kill,
Uh-huh.
and I make alive. I wound, and I heal.
He said, I kill and I make alive, I wound and I heal. The God of Israel. Finish that.
Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand.
Now, let's go now. Let's go to Ezekiel the 34th chapter. Ezekiel 34. So remember the children of Israel were sinning against the Lord. And he asked a question. Why are the daughter of my people not healed? Is there no balm in Gilead? We had Ezekiel 34 and 1. Ezekiel 34 and 1. When you get it, brother, start reading. We got two more after this. Ezekiel 34 and 1. Go ahead.
Ezekiel 34, verse 1. And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, prophesy against the shepherds of Israel.
Uh-oh. These are the ones that cause the people to be sick right here. It is the shepherds. Now, we're not talking about physically sick. We're not talking about mentally. We are somewhat talking about mentally sick. But they are definitely spiritually sick. Just like we read earlier. Israel was spiritually sick. So he said, Son of man, prophesy against the shepherds of Israel. Prophesy,
And say unto them, Thus saith the Lord God unto the shepherds, Woe be to the shepherds of Israel that do feed themselves. Should not the shepherds feed the flocks?
See, they going around feeding themselves. They living lavishly and everything. They're not feeding the flock. Go ahead and read.
Ye eat the fat, and ye clothe you with the wool. Ye kill them that are fed.
Go ahead.
But ye feed not the flock. The disease have ye not strengthened.
The disease have you not strengthened. Talking about the disease in the mind. They cause the people to err. He said, the disease have you not strengthened.
Neither have ye healed that which was sick.
He said, you didn't heal that which was sick. People running around here mentally sick. He said, you didn't heal them. Go ahead and read.
Neither have ye healed that which was sick. Neither have ye bound up that which was broken.
Go ahead.
Neither have you brought again that which was driven away. Neither have ye sought that which was lost.
Go ahead.
But with force and with cruelty have ye ruled them.
Now, so he said, look, you have not healed the sick. And that which was broken, neither have you brought again that which was driven away. Talking about the shepherds in Israel. Got the people mentally sick and spiritually sick. And that's what's going on now. Our people are spiritually sick. Let's go now. Let's go to Hosea the 14th chapter. Hosea, we're going to show you that bomb. Hosea 14 and 1. Hosea 14 and 1. Hosea 14 and 1. Go ahead and read it.
Hosea 14, verse 1. O Israel, return unto the Lord thy God.
That's the first thing right there. That's the first thing you need to do. If you are walking around spiritually sick, that's the first thing you need to do is return unto the Lord thy God.
For thou hast fallen by thine iniquity. Take with your words, and turn to the Lord. Say unto him, take away all iniquity, and receive us graciously.
Go ahead.
So will we render the cows of our lips. Asher shall not save us.
You see that? They knew men couldn't save them. They said, Asher, they cannot save us. Go ahead and read.
We will not ride upon horses.
Uh-huh.
Neither will we say any more to the work of our hands.
He said, we can't ride, we will not ride upon horses, neither will we say any more to the work of our hands. Go ahead and read.
Ye are our God.
You are our gods. The work of, because men make gods with their hands, and then they turn around and start worshiping like they're going to do the Christmas tree. Let me be quiet. say, keep talking. Because that's what they get ready to do. Because see, a lot of trees, they made them, right? Then they put them in a stand, and then they been down there to get them presents. What they doing? Worshiping that tree. They said, we're not going ye are our gods. Or we're not going to say any more to the work of our hands. Ye are our gods. Go ahead and read.
For in thee the fatherless findeth mercy.
Verse 4, what does it say?
I will heal their backsliding.
Now this the Lord telling Hosea to write. He said, I will heal their backsliding.
I will love them freely.
I will love them freely. Because Israel was spiritually, they were sick. But the Lord said, hey, I'm going to heal their backsliding. First thing you need to do is return to the Lord. I will heal that backsliding. I will love them freely. Go ahead.
For my anger is turned away from him.
For my anger is turned. Once the Lord turn away his anger from you, you start walking in righteousness, you are healed.
Amen.
But let me show you this balm in Gilead. Let's go, this is going to be last. Psalm 107 and 17. Psalm 107 and verse 17. Psalm 107 and 17. And this is the balm in Gilead. Go ahead and read.
Psalms 107, verse 17. Fools, because of their transgression.
Now look, I didn't call nobody a fool now. You see who read? He said, fools because of their transgressions,
and because of their iniquities are afflicted.
You see why you're afflicted? Because of your iniquities. I'm talking about those that are spiritually sick. They get afflicted by the Lord. Why? Because of their iniquities. Verse 18, go ahead.
Their soul abhorreth all manner of meat. And they draw near unto the gates of death.
Now, he ain't talking about literal meat. He talking about meat, the word. He said their soul abhor all manner of meat, and they draw near unto the gates of death. Because you walking in wickedness, boy, that's where you headed if you don't stop. The gates of death. And I'm talking about that second death, the lake of fire. Not the dirt nap. I'm talking about that lake of fire. Verse 19, go ahead.
Then they cried unto the Lord in their trouble.
He said they cried unto the Lord in their trouble, because sometimes you got to cry out to the Lord. Go ahead and read.
And he saveth them out of their distresses.
And he saved them out of their distresses. What's that balm in Gilead? Verse 20, go ahead.
He sent his word and healed them.
He sent his word and healed them. That is the balm in Gilead. It is the word of God.
Amen.
He sent his word and healed them.
And delivered them from their destruction.
And delivered them from their destruction. There you have healing of God. Physically, mentally, and spiritually. Thank you.